Welcome back to episode 2 of our series on America's Forgotten Recipes, where every bite tells a story of survival, struggle, and strength. Today, we're digging into 15 classic bread and butter sandwiches once cherished in the lower-class and blue-collar homes of America. These aren't your typical deli delights. They're simple, hearty creations born in tight kitchens, where every meal had to stretch far and cost little. You'll hear of fried bologna sizzling in old skillets, buttered bread layered with pickles, potatoes, and even sugar, ingredients humble by today's standards, but once powerful enough to fuel a working man's day. These are the forgotten sandwiches, passed down quietly, fading with time, yet deeply woven into the fabric of American resilience. So, take a deep breath and step back in time. What's coming next isn't gourmet, it's grit-on bread. The unmistakable aroma of frying bologna was once a common comfort in blue-collar kitchens across America. This wasn't just any sandwich, it was a vital source of nourishment and warmth for families facing economic hardships, where every ingredient had to serve a purpose. The fried bologna and butter sandwich is a testament to how simple staples could be transformed into something truly satisfying and memorable. The foundation was humble white sandwich bread, affordable and widely available. Each slice was generously coated with creamy butter, a key element that added both flavor and texture. When grilled together with the fried bologna, the butter soaked into the bread, creating a golden, crispy exterior that was rich yet delicate enough to soak up the savory juices from the meat. Bologna itself was a budget-friendly processed meat that carried more than just sustenance. Its high fat content was perfect for frying, allowing the slices to sizzle in a hot skillet until their edges curled slightly, turning crisp and flavorful. Families often made small cuts around the edges to prevent curling and ensure even cooking. The sizzling sound and smell of bologna frying filled the kitchen, a signal that a simple but satisfying meal was ready. This sandwich was a quick solution for long workdays and a treat for children returning home from school. The combination of warm, buttery bread and crispy, salty meat created a comforting balance of textures and tastes. It required no extra condiments or embellishments, just pure, honest flavor born out of necessity. Though often overlooked in today's culinary world, the fried bologna and butter sandwich remains an enduring symbol of resilience, thrift, and blue-collar ingenuity. It speaks of a time when food was not just about taste but survival and care. A simple sandwich, yes, but one packed with history, heart, and the spirit of America's working class. In the realm of blue-collar sandwiches, few were as surprising yet satisfying as the pickle and potato chip sandwich. At first glance, this combination might seem odd or even quirky, but for many working-class families, it was a quick and affordable snack that packed a punch of flavor and texture. This sandwich relied on the contrast between crunchy, salty potato chips and the tangy, sharp bite of pickles. It was a testament to how everyday pantry staples could come together to create something truly memorable. Bread was usually plain white or sometimes even slightly stale, which only added to the charm, perfect for holding the crunchy fillings without falling apart. Potato chips were a luxury for some families, but a small handful added much-needed saltiness and crunch to an otherwise simple meal. Pickles, often homemade or store-bought dill slices, brought a sharp, acidic counterpoint that cut through the richness of butter or mayonnaise spread on the bread. This sandwich wasn't about extravagance, it was about balancing textures and flavors to make a satisfying bite. The pickle and potato chip sandwich was particularly popular during lunch breaks and quick snacks when time was tight and resources scarce. It was a go-to option that required no cooking, just assembly, which made it perfect for kids coming home from school or adults needing a fast, energizing meal. Though modern sandwiches often focus on fresh ingredients and complex flavors, this simple creation reflects a different era, one where practicality ruled the kitchen and resourcefulness was a daily necessity. It reminds us that even the most unassuming ingredients, when paired thoughtfully, can create comfort and joy. Today, the pickle and potato chip sandwich remains a nostalgic relic, a crunchy and tangy reminder of America's blue-collar ingenuity and the creative ways families made every bite count. In the world of blue-collar American sandwiches, the liverwurst and onion sandwich stood out as a humble yet flavorful choice that reflected both thrift and taste. Liverwurst, a soft, spreadable sausage made primarily from pork liver, was an economical meat product that packed rich nutrition and distinctive flavor into every bite. For many working-class families, liverwurst was a pantry staple because it was affordable and could be enjoyed in various simple preparations. When paired with sharp, thinly sliced raw onions, this sandwich balanced the creamy, dense texture of the liverwurst with a pungent, zesty kick. The bread was often dense rye or hearty whole wheat, which helped hold the soft spread without falling apart. Some families added a thin layer of mustard or butter to add moisture and extra tang, but the star ingredients were always the liverwurst and fresh onions. This sandwich was more than just a meal. It was a practical solution for stretching limited resources while still delivering a satisfying, protein-rich snack. The pungent aroma of liverwurst combined with the sharpness of raw onions might not appeal to everyone today, but for those who grew up with it, it's a comforting reminder of home and hard work. Lunchboxes of factory workers and schoolchildren alike often contained this straightforward sandwich, packed carefully to withstand long days away from the stove. Its dense, filling nature meant it could keep hunger at bay during demanding labor or a busy school day. Today, the liverwurst and onion sandwich is a nearly forgotten classic, yet it carries a legacy of resilience and ingenuity. It shows how blue-collar families used modest ingredients to create meals full of flavor, nutrition, and tradition, proof that even the simplest foods can tell powerful stories. In the realm of blue-collar lunchboxes, the egg salad and tomato sandwich held a special place as a simple yet satisfying meal. Egg salad, made by mashing hard-boiled eggs with mayonnaise, mustard, and a pinch of salt, was an affordable source of protein and flavor that families could prepare quickly with pantry staples. The sandwich usually started with 2 slices of soft white bread, sometimes lightly toasted to add texture and prevent sogginess. The creamy, tangy egg salad was spread generously between the slices, offering a cool, rich layer that contrasted perfectly with the fresh, juicy tomato slices layered on top. Tomatoes, often homegrown in small backyard gardens or purchased fresh at local markets, added a burst of summer freshness and acidity. This balance of creamy egg salad and crisp tomato made the sandwich refreshing yet hearty, ideal for a midday meal to fuel long work hours or busy school days. Though simple, the egg salad and tomato sandwich was a clever way to combine affordable ingredients into a nutritious and delicious lunch. It required no elaborate preparation or cooking, making it perfect for families juggling tight schedules and budgets. In many households, this sandwich was a seasonal favorite, with tomatoes at their peak during the warmer months. The vibrant red of the tomato contrasted beautifully with the pale yellow of the egg salad, making the sandwich as visually appealing as it was tasty. Today, the egg salad and tomato sandwich may seem commonplace, but it carries the legacy of practicality and homegrown goodness. It reminds us how blue-collar families maximized simple ingredients to craft meals that nourished both body and spirit, creating lasting memories around the kitchen table. One of the most unexpected yet beloved sandwiches in blue-collar American kitchens was the peanut butter and pickle sandwich. At first, the idea of combining creamy peanut butter with tangy pickles might sound unusual, but for many working-class families, this was a creative, economical way to enjoy a flavorful snack with contrasting textures and tastes. This sandwich was born out of necessity and resourcefulness, 2 hallmarks of blue-collar cooking. Peanut butter, a cheap and protein-packed pantry staple, was often paired with whatever was on hand. Pickles, with their sharp acidity and crunch, provided a lively counterbalance to the rich, creamy spread. Typically made with simple white bread, sometimes slightly toasted for extra crunch, the sandwich was quick to assemble and required no cooking. The salty, sour tang of sliced dill pickles cut through the smooth sweetness of peanut butter, creating a surprisingly harmonious blend that many found satisfying and even addictive. In many households, this sandwich was passed down as a nostalgic comfort food, reminding people of their childhoods and the inventive ways families made do with limited ingredients. It was a lunchtime favorite for workers heading off to their jobs and kids returning from school with empty stomachs. Despite its humble origins, the peanut butter and pickle sandwich has endured as a quirky culinary classic, representing the spirit of American blue-collar kitchens, where creativity met practicality. Today, food enthusiasts and adventurous eaters have even rediscovered this unusual pairing, celebrating it for its bold flavors and nostalgic charm. This sandwich is a testament to how simple ingredients, when combined thoughtfully, can transcend expectations and become memorable culinary traditions, proof that sometimes the most unlikely combinations create the richest stories and flavors. Among the classic sandwiches that filled lunchboxes and kitchen tables of blue-collar American families, the bologna and cheese sandwich holds a special place. Simple, hearty, and budget-friendly, this sandwich was a reliable go-to for many working-class households seeking a filling meal without breaking the bank. Bologna, a type of processed meat made from finely ground pork or beef, was inexpensive and widely available, making it a pantry staple. When paired with a slice or two of processed American cheese, it created a smooth, satisfying combination of flavors that appealed to both kids and adults alike. The bread of choice was usually plain white sandwich bread, soft and easy to chew, perfect for holding the sandwich together without overwhelming the fillings. Some families added a thin layer of mustard or mayonnaise to add moisture and a slight tang, though the core of the sandwich remained the savory bologna and creamy cheese. This sandwich was a lunchtime staple in schools, factories, and homes during the mid-20th century, especially when meat was a luxury and stretching ingredients was necessary. It was easy to assemble, required no cooking, and offered a quick burst of protein and fat to keep energy levels up through the day. Though often underestimated as a simple kid sandwich, the bologna and cheese sandwich carries with it a sense of nostalgia and comfort. It reflects the ingenuity of blue-collar families making the most of affordable ingredients to feed their loved ones. Today, while fresh deli meats and artisanal cheeses dominate sandwich menus, the bologna and cheese sandwich remains a beloved relic of a different era, one where practicality, taste, and economy intersected in humble, delicious ways. At first glance, a sandwich made from just mayonnaise and lettuce might seem too plain to be memorable, but in the heart of blue-collar America, it was a quiet champion of frugality and simplicity. For families trying to stretch every grocery dollar, this sandwich was a clever way to fill hungry stomachs using minimal ingredients. During tough economic times, especially in the Depression era and wartime periods, meat and cheese were often out of reach. That's where the mayonnaise and lettuce sandwich came in. Crisp, fresh lettuce brought texture and a hint of garden freshness, while mayonnaise added creaminess and flavor that turned the sandwich into more than just leaves on bread. Typically, this sandwich was built with soft white or wheat bread, generously spread with mayonnaise on both slices. The lettuce, usually iceberg for its crunch and availability, was layered thickly, giving the sandwich height and body. Some variations even added a sprinkle of salt and pepper or a dash of vinegar to liven up the flavor. What made this sandwich stand out wasn't its extravagance, but its adaptability. It was a blank canvas. In seasons when tomatoes or onions were available, they might be added to enhance taste. But when pantries were bare, this humble combination of lettuce and mayo served its purpose, feeding children before school or workers during a short lunch break. It became especially popular in rural areas where families often grew their own produce but lacked access to regular deli meats. The lettuce and mayonnaise sandwich became a symbol of making do and making it work. Though not often found on modern menus, this sandwich remains a nostalgic memory for many who grew up in hardworking households. It's a quiet reminder that simplicity can be deeply comforting and that even the most unassuming meals carry the history and resilience of generations past. Among the most quietly elegant and deeply comforting blue-collar sandwiches of early American homes was the tomato and butter sandwich. A staple in lower-income households during the Depression and wartime eras, It was born from a need to create something filling, flavorful, and satisfying with very little. The concept was deceptively simple. Freshly sliced tomatoes laid between two slices of bread generously spread with real butter. Yet this combination delivered a taste that was rich, juicy, and deeply nostalgic. The sandwich was often made during the height of summer, when backyard gardens or community plots were overflowing with ripe, red tomatoes, one of the few luxuries that came directly from the soil. The bread used was often plain white or soft whole wheat, slightly absorbent so it could soak in the tomatoes' juices without falling apart completely. The butter acted as both a flavor enhancer and a moisture barrier, preventing the bread from getting soggy too quickly. A sprinkle of salt and pepper was almost always added to bring out the tomatoes' natural sweetness and acidity. This sandwich didn't require meat, cheese, or expensive condiments. And yet, it delivered a mouthful of flavor that was earthy, creamy, and bright. For many working-class families, especially those in rural areas, this was a taste of summertime comfort. Kids would eat it for lunch, and adults would carry it wrapped in wax paper to work in the fields or factories. It was a sandwich tied to memory, of grandparents growing tomatoes, of butter sliced from a thick block, of a meal made with what was already in the house. And even though it's vanished from most modern menus, the tomato and butter sandwich lives on in recollections of simplicity done right. In today's fast-paced world of gourmet trends, few things can match the humble satisfaction of biting into thick tomato slices layered over soft buttered bread, an echo of a time when the best meals were those made with love and whatever you had on hand. If there's one sandwich that surprises everyone the first time they hear about it, it's the peanut butter and pickle sandwich. Yet, for many blue-collar families during the Great Depression and World War eras, this strange-sounding combination wasn't just common, it was beloved. Born out of sheer necessity and creative problem-solving, this sandwich used two ingredients that were cheap, shelf-stable, and widely available. Peanut butter, rich in protein and healthy fats, was a common pantry item. Pickles, often homemade from garden cucumbers, added crunch, acidity, and an unexpected zing. Together, they created a flavor contrast that, once tasted, many found addictively satisfying. The sandwich was simple: 2 slices of soft white or wheat bread, a thick smear of creamy or crunchy peanut butter on each slice, and a layer of dill pickle slices in between. Some people preferred sweet pickles, while others swore by the sharpness of the dill. Either way, it was a sandwich that delivered on texture and flavor: nutty, salty, tangy, and sweet all at once. Why did it catch on? For one, it was dirt cheap to make. Meat was expensive or rationed, but peanut butter was affordable protein. Pickles were often made at home in large batches and lasted all year. And for kids, it felt like something special, even a bit rebellious. The contrast of creamy peanut butter and sharp pickles felt bold, different, and oddly comforting. This sandwich became a quiet symbol of resilience, of how American families managed to craft unique flavors from limited ingredients. It was also practical: no refrigeration needed, easy to pack, no cooking required. Though rarely seen on menus today, the peanut butter and pickle sandwich still lives on in regional traditions and the memories of those who grew up during harder times. It stands as proof that innovation in the kitchen doesn't always require a full pantry, just a little courage and a willingness to try something new. In a world where food is often overcomplicated, this sandwich reminds us that surprising flavors can come from the most humble pairings. At first glance, the onion sandwich might sound too bare bones to be called a real meal. But for many struggling families during the Great Depression, this sandwich was a lifeline: simple, cheap, and shockingly flavorful. Made with just a few humble ingredients, the onion sandwich was more than just something to fill the belly. It was a testament to survival and creativity. The traditional version involved 2 slices of soft bread, usually white, though any loaf would do, spread with butter or sometimes lard. Between them, thick slices of raw yellow or white onion were layered, often seasoned with a dash of salt and pepper. That was it. No frills, no extras. Yet this sandwich carried a punch. The butter mellowed out the sting of the raw onion, while the bread softened the overall bite. The salt helped bring out the natural sweetness of the onion, especially if it had been freshly harvested. Some variations included a sprinkle of vinegar, or even a thin smear of mustard, but the essence was always the same: bold flavor from the most basic pantry item. For blue-collar workers heading to factories, fields, or construction sites, the onion sandwich was easy to pack, didn't spoil quickly, and delivered a powerful taste that lingered long after the last bite. In homes where meat was a luxury and cheese a rare treat, onions, often grown in backyard gardens, were plentiful and dependable. This sandwich also became something of an acquired taste passed down through generations. Children would squirm at first, but eventually grow into its pungent profile. It became a symbol of grit, the kind of food that didn't apologize for its simplicity. While today's palates may crave layered delicacies and gourmet twists, the onion sandwich remains a relic of resourcefulness. It reminds us of a time when flavor came from necessity, not excess, and how something as sharp and tear-inducing as a raw onion could be transformed into a meal of pride. In a world of abundance, this forgotten sandwich tells the story of hunger, strength, and homes that made do with what they had. Few sandwiches from America's past are as crisp, cooling, and curiously forgotten as the cucumber and vinegar sandwich. Once a summertime staple in lower-class homes, especially in rural regions and working-class neighborhoods, this simple dish served as a refreshing solution during hot days when meat was scarce and air conditioning didn't exist. At its core, the sandwich consisted of thinly sliced cucumbers soaked in vinegar, sometimes sweetened lightly with sugar, then layered between slices of soft white or wheat bread. Occasionally, butter or margarine was added to the bread for richness, and a sprinkle of salt and pepper elevated the flavor. The cucumbers, after soaking, took on a tangy, almost pickled quality, crisp yet flavorful, acidic yet cool. This sandwich thrived especially during the Great Depression and into the 1940s, when gardens were common and cucumbers were easy to grow in backyard plots. Vinegar was cheap and shelf-stable, and with sugar rationed during wartime, even the lightest sweetness felt like a luxury. Families would make a batch of sliced cucumbers in vinegar and keep it chilled in a glass jar or bowl, ready to be slapped onto bread for lunch or a light supper. For factory workers, farmhands, and coal miners, this sandwich provided hydration, crunch, and just enough calories to keep moving. It was also commonly served to children and elderly family members, who found the softness of the bread and tenderness of the cucumbers easy to eat. Plus, it could be made in bulk and fast. The cucumber and vinegar sandwich also carried an emotional weight, its coolness offering relief from both the summer heat and the harshness of economic hardship. It was a meal that didn't try to pretend to be something else. It stood proudly as what it was: clean, crisp, and comforting. Today, while it may sound odd to modern tastes obsessed with sauces and stacked fillings, this sandwich remains a quiet reminder of how flavor doesn't always require complexity. Sometimes, it only takes a garden cucumber, a splash of vinegar, and 2 slices of bread to preserve dignity and lunch. One of the most distinctive and hearty sandwiches from America's blue-collar past is the liverwurst and onion sandwich. While liverwurst may not be as common on modern menus, it was once a beloved staple in working-class homes, prized for its rich flavor, affordable cost, and long shelf life. Liverwurst, a type of sausage made primarily from pork liver and other finely ground meats and spices, was easy to find in local butcher shops and grocery stores. For families managing tight budgets, this sandwich offered a protein-rich meal that didn't require cooking or much preparation. The sandwich was straightforward: thick slices or a generous spread of liverwurst layered on fresh bread, often rye or white, with crisp raw onions added for sharpness and crunch. The pungent aroma of the liverwurst combined with the bite of the onion created a bold flavor profile that could satisfy even the heartiest appetites. Butter or mayonnaise was sometimes added to soften the edges, while mustard was a popular choice for an extra kick. This combination made the liverwurst and onion sandwich not just filling but flavorful and complex. Historically, liverwurst sandwiches were popular among factory workers, miners, and laborers who needed a quick, sustaining lunch. It traveled well and didn't spoil easily, which made it practical for packed lunches. Though today it might be considered an acquired taste, the liverwurst and onion sandwich holds a special place in American food history. It's a reminder of how families turned simple, affordable ingredients into meals that nourished bodies and spirits alike. Rediscovering this sandwich is like tasting a piece of the past, a bold, robust flavor that speaks to resilience, thrift, and the ingenuity of blue-collar America. Among the most nostalgic sandwiches from America's blue-collar kitchens is the humble bologna and mustard sandwich. This simple yet satisfying creation became a staple for working families due to its affordability, ease of preparation, and bold flavor. Bologna, a type of finely ground pork sausage, was widely accessible and often came in large rolls that could be sliced thick or thin depending on preference. It was a convenient protein source that required no cooking, making it perfect for quick lunches packed for factory workers, school children, and laborers alike. The sandwich was traditionally made with 2 slices of white or rye bread, layered with generous slices of bologna. A spread of yellow or spicy brown mustard added a sharp tang that cut through the rich, smooth texture of the meat. Sometimes, a slice of processed cheese or a few pickles were added for extra flavor, but the core of the sandwich was always bologna and mustard. What made this sandwich memorable was its balance of textures and flavors: the soft bread, the slightly salty and fatty bologna, and the punchy mustard created a combination that was both comforting and energizing. In many blue-collar homes, the bologna and mustard sandwich was a lunchtime mainstay, often accompanied by a simple side like potato chips or a piece of fruit. Its popularity endured through decades, becoming a symbol of working-class America's resourcefulness and no-nonsense approach to meals. Today, while some might see it as plain or old-fashioned, the bologna and mustard sandwich remains a delicious reminder of simpler times, when meals were made to fill hungry bellies quickly and affordably, without fuss or pretense. It's a sandwich that tells a story of practicality, flavor, and tradition, continuing to evoke memories of family kitchens where the focus was always on making the most of what was available. The radish and butter sandwich might seem surprising today, but it was once a cherished meal in many blue-collar American homes. Simple, affordable, and surprisingly flavorful, this sandwich was a perfect example of turning humble ingredients into something truly satisfying. Radishes were often grown in backyard gardens or victory gardens during tough economic times. Their peppery crunch and bright, earthy flavor made them a reliable staple for families who needed to stretch their budgets. Pairing them with butter might sound odd at first, but it was a traditional combination passed down from European immigrants who brought the concept with them to America. This sandwich was usually made with fresh, soft white bread or hearty slices of homemade brown bread. A thick layer of salted butter was spread generously on each slice. Then came the radishes, thinly sliced into delicate rounds, their red skins bright against the pale butter. The saltiness of the butter mellowed the sharp bite of the radishes, creating a balance of creamy and crisp, savory and spicy. The radish and butter sandwich wasn't just about flavor, it was about freshness. It was often eaten in the spring or early summer when radishes were at their peak. For working-class families, this sandwich was a refreshing break from heavier meals and a welcome burst of color and taste. It was common to serve the sandwich with a pinch of salt or even a drizzle of vinegar for an extra bite. Some variations included herbs like chives or parsley, but most versions kept it simple and pure. Though it may be considered rustic today, the radish and butter sandwich represents the ingenuity of blue-collar kitchens. It's a reminder that great flavor doesn't require expensive ingredients, just a little care, tradition, and creativity. Reviving this sandwich today is like reconnecting with a forgotten rhythm of seasonal eating and simpler times, where every bite carried the story of resilience and thoughtful simplicity. Among the most unusual yet curiously comforting sandwiches from blue-collar American homes is the cold baked bean sandwich. At first glance, it might sound strange, but during hard times, this humble creation delivered both flavor and substance with ingredients that were already sitting in most kitchen cupboards. Canned or homemade baked beans were a Depression-era staple. They were cheap, filling, and packed with flavor thanks to their slow-cooked mix of molasses, salt pork, onions, and a hint of brown sugar. While baked beans were typically eaten hot for dinner, leftovers rarely went to waste. Instead, they were repurposed, most creatively, into sandwiches the following day. To make this sandwich, cold baked beans were spread generously between 2 slices of white sandwich bread or leftover cornbread. Some households added a light smear of mustard for a little zing, while others simply enjoyed the natural sweetness and smoky flavor of the beans as is. The texture was soft and slightly sticky, but it filled hungry bellies and kept families going through long workdays. This sandwich stood as a powerful symbol of frugality and creativity. It transformed something ordinary, yesterday's dinner, into a fresh meal for the next day. It was a testament to how lower-income households made the most of what they had, refusing to let anything go to waste. Today, the cold baked bean sandwich might not show up on modern menus, but it's a flavorful bite of history that tells a bigger story of resilience, resourcefulness, and the beauty of making do. And with that, we've reached the end of this episode featuring the 15 classic bread and butter sandwiches of blue-collar homes. If you found these forgotten flavors fascinating, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss another journey into America's edible past. An even more surprising and heartwarming set of vintage recipes is coming your way tomorrow, so stay tuned, because what's lost can still be tasted again.